Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Pacers Daily. I am your host, Hery Acosta. Happy Friday, everyone. Last video for the week. You know, we record every Monday through Friday. Let's get straight into this. Like and subscribe for more content like this. First things first, last episode, the episode before, I was talking about how Monte Morris could potentially actually be a rotation piece. Well, I couldn't have been more wrong, as he was recently released due to a calf injury. Now, they haven't really specified how severe the calf injury is, but by the looks of it, it's pretty severe if they're not even going to keep him enough to try to get to training camp. So, a very short lived stint for Monte Morris with the Pacers. I was really hoping to see what he could do and how he could kind of fare as one of the veterans on the team. Now, they did replace him with another veteran that is a little older, has a little bit more experience, but still nothing too crazy. But with Morris, he's probably going to end up finding another opportunity. He's still 30 years old, so he's still not, too old and too young. He's kind of just like in that middle. Been in the league a while, played for a bunch of teams, but it sucks to see him go just like that. Didn't even really get a chance, and yeah, it's unfortunate because of injury, and his contract was more expandable than any other contract we have. So that was a pretty easy decision for the Pacers to make at that moment. So, but good luck to Monte Morris. See what happens in the future for him. Now, the guy we did sign in impact of how we released Monte Morris was Delon Wright. I'm not the biggest fan of this signing. I don't think that Delon Wright is going to be on this roster. Now, he got some playoff minutes with the Knicks, kind of like in one of those weird scenarios when Thibodeau started actually playing some of the bench players rather than just letting all his starters play for 48 minutes like he does a lot. But when he was running 8, 9, 10-man rotations, Delon Wright was getting minutes, and he was playing pretty decent. And Delon Wright was also a contributor on the Bucks and on a bunch of different teams. He's been around the league for a while. Wizards, Heat, name it, he's probably been on that team. And he's done a lot. He's got a lot of playoff experience with those teams. I mean, he was in the conference finals this year with the Knicks. But he's kind of an end of the rotation kind of guy. I don't see the Pacers keeping him. Now, I would have seen them keep Morris just because Morris is a little bit more to show and a little bit younger. He could probably play a little bit more. But, we'll see where it goes. I'm not going to really judge him too much. I kind of want to see how this goes. Obviously, these non-guaranteed deals are all for the training camps. So we'll see. It's going to be between Delon and Wiseman and Bradley. If this stakes and nothing crazy happens like with Morris, that he gets an injury and they release him and find some other point guard. But the Pacers are clearly trying to see if they can have another veteran guard on this roster behind TJ McConnell, just in case, we could always use guard depth. That was one of our big strengths last year. But obviously last season we had Halliburton fully healthy, so we'll see how this goes. Now, we want guard depth. Now, obviously, if we went and signed a player like Nick Smith Jr., it's going to be a little bit of money, because he's still 21 years old. He's a young guy. But this one's kind of one of the more shocking releases / waves that I've seen in the offseason. Charlotte just flat out released him. Now, I'm not going to base this off. He obviously hasn't been, the greatest player. Like, we're not going to disagree with that. But he's still a young guy that you drafted in the first round only a couple of seasons ago. Give him a little bit more of a chance. I mean, obviously we saw the Hawks get rid of Kobe Buffkin very recently. So a lot of teams are giving up on their late first round picks kind of early. I mean, Smith was drafted around the same area that Ben Shepherd was drafted, and Shepherd's out here getting crazy good minutes for us. Obviously, I'm not comparing the two, but I'm just saying this is around the same time where they were both drafted. Smith, I've always thought he was a good player. I've always liked the way he plays. He's a good three-point shooter. He's got a really nice vertical. Not the best defender, also very undersized. He's about 6'1", 6'2". Normally plays the shooting guard position, but he's a guy that can also transition into the one. He can play the point guard, a good ball handler. Doesn't really space the floor as much with, you know, his playmaking and everything. Something he could definitely work on. But for shooting standpoint, he is a good shooter. He is a good dunker. He has very good vertical for his size. So I think he'd be somebody that we can look at. I don't know if he's gonna be, you know, sought after by the Pacers, but it's just someone I would like to see the Pacers really go for. Just because I like him as a player. I think he has potential. I think he has a good future. But there's definitely some things he needs to work on if he truly wants to make it big in the NBA, or if he even wants to be on like the Pacers or any other team that could use a player like him. And last but not least, we've been talking about moves, but the Pacers are obviously not known for making the biggest moves at the beginning of free agency. And even towards the end, we're still not making huge moves. We're signing players here and there to see who can fight for a roster spot. I don't see the Pacers going crazy and signing like 8 people and having them all try out. Now, the Knicks did it. I know a lot of other teams did. I know the Warriors are going to do it here in the next few days. I know we talked about it. They were going to sign Horford, Seth Curry, D'Anthony Melton, and all sign them, and then re-sign Gary Payton after the whole Kuminga sign and trade with the Kings potentially happens. But the Pacers aren't going to go out and sign 4 or 5 free agents. But we did see players like Precious Achiuwa, Mo Bamba, and Thomas Bryant all get contracts the other day. Bryant with the Jazz, Achiuwa with the Heat, Bryant with the Cavs, Bamba with the Jazz, and Achiuwa with the Heat. But the Pacers probably aren't going to be doing that, and I don't blame them. They're not the kind of team that signs 50 players and picks 15. We have pretty much 13 to 14 players already solidified a roster spot. Now we really just need one. We really only have to release 1 or 2 players maximum during this training camp. And Delon Wright is currently my cut candidate. I don't see him impacting as much as Morris would have. Now, obviously, he's got more experience, and I've mentioned that, but I just don't see him fitting in the Pacers system. Now, if I'm wrong, perfect. And if he does great, wonderful. I want him to prove me wrong. But I see either him, or I could see the Pacers go with Tony over James Wiseman. Now, that would be kind of interesting, but it all depends on how Wiseman shows up and plays in training camp, and he shows that he deserved to be that number 2 pick. But as always, I'm your host, Hery Acosta. This is Pacers Daily. Boom, baby, and go Sirs.